Hi, my name is Ariel Nye, and this is my presentation for my research proposal. The question being asked here is, can urban hunting control white-tailed deer populations in urban areas in the Midwest United States? I'm going to be talking about white-tailed deer in urban environments. While many people think of deer being out in the woods or in a field, there are actually overabundant deer populations in many urban areas. They are in these areas because they were here before humans settled the land, and as long as there is some food and shelter nearby, they're not going anywhere. The problem with having deer in these urban areas is that they can cause major bodily injury to humans and property damage when deer and vehicles collide, which happens pretty regularly. They can also cause property damage to any landscaping being done, or even take out small backyard gardens. They are usually more skittish creatures, but during their rut season they can be territorial, which can be harmful to pets. Their large numbers can also cause health problems because of the diseases that can spread through them and to other animals, like chronic wasting disease. Deer are herbivores, which means that high populations can affect how forest undergrowth grows. This can cause changes to the landscape by altering the foliage coverage and changing water flow. There are two ways that I have seen communities lower populations, and that is by doing chemical sterilization and by allowing hunters to hunt in urban areas. Many urban areas have major laws prohibiting any form of hunting because it could be dangerous to humans and animals if the space is too small. But there are some areas that allow people to bow hunt deer in parks and on property that has at least an acre of open space. It is these areas that I want to look into for this research. By knowing how these hunting laws have helped control deer populations and cut down on the problems the large populations are causing, I can work on getting other areas with these deer problems in a better place. The study area that I plan on looking into is urban towns in the Midwest of the United States, focusing mostly on towns that are closer or bordering agricultural areas, forested areas, and large protected parks. I would not want to look at areas that are a metropolis because there is no shelter or food for them in those areas, so there will be no deer there. The scale of my study would be the areas of parks, agriculture fields, and forested areas around city edges and within city limits. Deer populations need large areas to live in order to get a comprehensive idea about the population size. I would need to be able to see their whole habitat, which can be a few miles wide. I would want to look at about 20 towns minimum, focusing mainly in Missouri and Illinois since I'm close enough to both areas. The plan for this research is to observe white-tailed deer populations in areas where there are strict anti-hunting laws and also observe areas where they allow whitetail hunting in urban areas. There are some areas that are just starting to allow hunting, so I would want to observe these areas for a few years to see how the plan is working for them. I would want to look at how deer populations are changing and how much the public is participating. By observing how many people are hunting and how the deer population is changing, this can help make inferences on how much the hunting is helping the numbers. The expected results here are that urban hunting will allow cities and towns to control their deer populations better. I would also expect public participation to increase over time as it became obvious that it was helping and gained public interest. I would also expect the landscape to change and more undergrowth to grow because there would be less herbivory on them. This can help the landscape get back into a more natural state. As for the writing process, this is not something that I have really had to do before, so it is a new experience for me, but it's not too bad. I did have some trouble with my topic at first because I was much too limiting on my wordage while searching, but I was eventually able to find a lot of information on urban deer populations and hunting. One unknown for this research proposal is the specific anti-hunting laws that are in each of these towns. This kind of information takes a lot of time to look through, and I would have to know exactly what towns I was going to be studying beforehand. Another unknown would be if there was any backlash to allowing hunters in urban areas and how this would affect public participation and therefore populations over the years. finally, some next steps that could be taken from this study are looking into hunters and non-hunters' thoughts on urban hunting, like getting a survey of their feelings to see if hunting in urban areas would work in areas that they don't currently allow it. Looking into other methods of controlling deer populations, like this chemical sterilization that I mentioned earlier, and how effective these methods are compared to hunting. Looking at how lower or higher deer populations are affecting the populations of other animals in the area, like other herbivores or predatory species that hunt deer. Looking at other areas around the U.S. and possibly outside the U.S. to see how they handle deer populations in urban hunting. And finally, looking into some more positive aspects of deer hunting in urban areas, like how it can make money for local conservation in towns, as well as how it can help feed the less fortunate in the area. Thank you for your time, and have a great rest of the day.